The global energy market is worth $9 trillion a year. Natural gas, utility bills, aging panels, outdated wiring. The infrastructure inside millions of homes on every continent, built decades ago, never upgraded, billing you every single month for a system that was designed to be inefficient. By the end of this, you will know exactly how homeowners in the United States, Brazil, Germany, and Poland are legally cutting their gas bills in half, using a panel upgrade path that most utility companies would prefer you never find out about. Permit records, incentive program data, contractor cost breakdowns, not opinion, the paper trail. The average household in the developed world spends between $1,200 and $2,400 a year on natural gas alone. That number has not stayed flat. Between 2019 and 2023, residential gas prices rose 41% across European markets and 38% across North American markets, according to the International Energy Agency. The gas company did not absorb that increase. You did. And the reason you are still absorbing it every month is not because there is no alternative. It is because the alternative requires a decision most homeowners do not know they are allowed to make. The loophole is this. In the United States, the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 allocated $4.5 billion specifically for residential electrical panel upgrades. The maximum federal tax credit is $600 per panel upgrade, but the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program and state-level programs stack on top of that. In California alone, the Tech Clean California initiative covers up to $2,500 of panel upgrade costs for eligible homeowners. In New York, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, NYSERDA, offers rebates of up to $500 on top of federal credits. In Germany, the KfW Bundesbank runs the Bundesförderung für effiziente Gebäude program, BEG, which covers up to 15% of renovation costs, including electrical infrastructure, when paired with a heat pump installation, on projects up to 60,000 euros. Poland's Czyste Powietrze program, Clean Air, allocated 23 billion zloty through 2029 for home energy upgrades, including panel and heating system replacements. Brazil's Programa Casa Verde e Amarela includes infrastructure financing at subsidized rates for low to middle income homeowners. These programs exist. They are funded. They are not widely advertised by the utility companies that profit from your gas dependency. They are sitting there, drawing on public money that was specifically allocated for this purpose, and the majority of eligible homeowners in every one of these countries never claim them. Now, here's the mechanism that makes the math work. A standard natural gas furnace operates at between 80 and 95% annual fuel utilization efficiency, AFUE, under optimal conditions. The highest efficiency gas furnaces on the market today, from manufacturers like Carrier and Lennox, advertise 98.5% AFUE. That number is real under laboratory conditions. Under real-world installation conditions, duct leakage averaging 30% in most existing homes, according to the U.S. Department of Energy, effective efficiency drops to between 65 and 75%. You are paying for 100% of the gas. You're getting 65 to 75% of the heat. The other, 25 to 35%, is heating your attic, your crawl space, and the outside air. A modern cold climate air source heat pump, units from Mitsubishi, Daikin, and Bosch, operates at between 250 and 400% efficiency. Not a misprint. The unit moves heat instead of generating it. For every 1 unit of electricity consumed, it delivers 2.5 to 4 units of heat into the home. That ratio is called the coefficient of performance, COP. At a COP of 3, you are getting 3 times the thermal output per dollar spent on energy compared to a gas system running at 100% efficiency. Against a gas system running at real-world 70% efficiency, you're getting roughly 4 times the output per dollar. That is where the bill cuts in half. That is the math, not marketing. Physics. But the heat pump does not run without the panel. This is the choke point the industry counts on. A whole home heat pump system requires a 200 amp service entrance in most installations. A mini-split system for a single zone can run on a dedicated 20 amp circuit. But a full replacement, the system that eliminates the gas bill entirely, needs the panel upgrade first. The average cost of a panel upgrade from 100 to 200 amps in the United States is between $1,800 and $4,000, depending on jurisdiction and whether the meter base requires replacement. In Germany, an equivalent Sailor Custom upgrade runs between 1,500 and 3,500 euros. In Poland, between 3,000 and 8,000 zloty. In Brazil, between 2,000 and 6,000 reais, depending on the concessionaria and local ABNT standards. That upfront cost is the number the gas company is quietly counting on to stop you. Because when you stack the IRA federal credit, the state rebate, And the utility company's own demand-side management incentive, which exists in 43 of the 50 U.S. states because utilities are required to offer them. The net out-of-pocket cost of the panel upgrade drops to between $0 and $1,200 in most cases. In California, documented homeowners have completed panel upgrades at $0 net cost after incentive stacking. In Germany, KfW financing at 5. 99% annual interest with 15% grant coverage means the panel cost is financed at a lower rate than most mortgage products. The money is there. The mechanism exists. The gas company's marketing budget is larger than the government's outreach budget for the programs designed to replace it. The brands doing this work at the equipment level are not equal. Mitsubishi Electric's Zuba Central and Hyperheating Inverter, H2I, product line is sold and installed on 6 continents and is the system that professional HVAC engineers reach for when a building envelope is older and less airtight. The H2I series maintains full rated heating capacity down to minus 25 degrees Celsius. That spec matters in Warsaw in February. It matters in northern Germany. It matters in the northern United States and Canada. Daikin, headquartered in Osaka, is the largest HVAC manufacturer by global revenue, over $25 billion annually, and its Altherma heat pump line dominates European residential retrofit installations. The Altherma 3H is the unit that KfW certification programs point to most frequently in German renovation documentation. Bosch Thermotechnology, sold as Bosch Climate Solutions in Europe and Bosch Home Comfort in North America, manufactures a heat pump line that carries European CE certification, Brazilian Inmetro certification, and U.S. Energy Star certification simultaneously, making it the single most universally certifiable unit across all 4 markets covered by this script. Certification matters because certification is what triggers the rebate. A unit that is not on the qualifying product list for your national or state incentive program cannot generate the rebate that makes the math work. Verify the list before you purchase the unit. The lists are public. They are searchable. The Mitsubishi, Daikin, and Bosch residential heat pump lines appear on all of them. The water heater is the second line item that most homeowners miss entirely. Natural gas water heating accounts for between 15 and 30% of total residential gas consumption, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration and equivalent data from the European Environment Agency. The heat pump water heater, units from Rheem, A.O. Smith, and Stiebel Eltron, operates at a COP of 3 to 4, identical to the space heating logic. Rheem's ProTerra line is sold across North America. A.O. Smith's Voltex is distributed in North America and through parent company Atlantic Water Products in Europe. Stiebel Eltron, founded in Germany in 1924 and now sold in over 40 countries, is the unit that German and Polish plumbing contractors have specified for commercial and residential installations for decades. The IRA provides a federal tax credit of $300 on qualifying heat pump water heaters in the United States. Germany's BEG covers 30% of the unit cost when installed alongside other eligible measures. Poland's Czyste Powietrze program covers the unit under its second threshold tier. The stacking logic is the same as the panel. Federal plus state plus utility adds up to a net cost that in documented cases reaches 0. The induction cooktop is the third piece. Gas cooking accounts for between 3 and 8% of residential gas use, smaller than heating and water, but not 0. More importantly, gas combustion indoors produces nitrogen dioxide at levels the World Health Organization classifies as a significant indoor air quality risk at 2 parts per million. Levels that a 2018 study published in Environmental Health Perspectives found exceeded in 62% of homes using gas cooking without adequate ventilation. The WHO's revised indoor air quality guidelines, published in 2021, set an annual mean limit of 10 micrograms per cubic meter for nitrogen dioxide. Gas stove operation has been documented to exceed that threshold in kitchen measurements across studies in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia. This is not a contested finding. It is documented in peer-reviewed literature and has been confirmed by the EPA's own research division. The induction cooktop eliminates the combustion source entirely. IKEA's Tilreda portable induction unit costs $49 and requires no installation. The full replacement of a 4-burner gas range with a Bosch, Samsung, or Electrolux induction range costs between $600 and $1,800. The IRA covers 30% of the cost of a qualifying induction range, up to $520. A $500 rebate on an $800 range brings the net cost to $300. For a cooking surface that operates at 90% efficiency versus 40% for gas, never produces combustion byproducts, and reduces the gas bill by 3 to 8% permanently. The sequence matters. Panel upgrade first, because the panel is the prerequisite for everything else. A heat pump on an undersized service entrance trips breakers and voids the installer warranty. An induction range on an overloaded circuit creates a fire risk and fails inspection. The panel is not the glamorous part of this conversation. It is the foundation of the entire upgrade path. And it is the part that incentive programs fund most heavily because grid operators need residential load to be flexible, and modern panels with smart metering capability are how utilities build the demand response infrastructure they have been promising regulators for 15 years. Your panel upgrade is worth money to the utility. That is why the incentive exists. Not charity, economics. The upfront cost of the full retrofit, panel upgrade, heat pump water heater, induction range, runs between $12,000 and $22,000 before incentives in the United States, depending on home size and contractor market. After federal IRA credits, state rebates, and utility incentive stacking, documented net costs for homeowners who have completed the full package land between $4,000 and $9,000. At $800 in annual savings, that is a payback period of 5 to 11 years on a system with a 25-year service life. The last 15 years are pure return. The gas company keeps billing your neighbor for the next 30 years. You cap the line. The one thing most homeowners do not know to ask their contractor: request an incentive audit before the installation quote. Every qualified contractor in the United States who works with the IRA incentive structure is required to provide documentation of the applicable credits and rebates for the specific equipment being proposed. In Germany, a KfW certified energy consultant, energy berater, must be involved in the grant application, and their fee is itself partially reimbursable under the program. In Poland, the Czyste Powietrze application portal at czystepowietrze.gov.tml processes applications that can be submitted before installation begins, guaranteeing the grant before money is spent. In Brazil, the CEF, Caixa Econômica Federal, administers housing upgrade financing at rates below the Selic benchmark for qualifying renovations. The programs are not hidden. They are not difficult to access. They require one conversation with a contractor who knows the system, or 30 minutes on a government portal, or both. The gas company's business model depends on one assumption: that you will not run the math. The math says you have been paying 4 times the operating cost for 65% of the efficiency. The math says public money has been set aside in 4 countries, on 2 continents, specifically to fund the transition away from that model. The math says the panel is the first move, the incentive audit is the second move, and every month you wait is another month of margin transferred from your account to a commodity trader you will never meet. The panel upgrade is not a home improvement project. It is a financial instrument. And the loophole is that it was funded before you knew to ask. The contractor selection is where most homeowners lose the gains they calculated on paper. A panel upgrade performed by an unlicensed electrician voids the utility interconnection agreement and disqualifies the installation from every incentive program simultaneously. A heat pump installed by a technician without North American Technician Excellence Certification, NATE, or equivalent European VDI qualification, voids the manufacturer warranty on the first service call. The equipment is only as good as the installation, and the installation is only as good as the credential behind it. Ask for the license number before the quote. Verify it on the state or National Licensing Board database. Every country covered here maintains a public lookup. The 60 seconds it takes to verify saves the $4,000 you lose if the installation fails inspection. The permit is not optional. This is the second place homeowners bleed savings. A panel upgrade without a permit means no utility inspection, which means no utility approval for the new service entrance, which means the utility can legally refuse to energize the panel. In the United States, an unpermitted panel upgrade also disqualifies the installation from IRA tax credit eligibility, confirmed by IRS guidance published in Notice 2023-29. In Germany, an upgrade without the network operators, Netzbetreiber, formal approval documentation cannot legally connect to the grid under the Niederspannungsanschlussverordnung, the low-voltage connection regulation. Permits are not bureaucratic friction. They are the legal mechanism that makes the incentive money accessible. No permit, no rebate, no grid connection, no savings. Pull the permit every time. The timing of the application also determines the amount. Germany's BEG grant rates have changed 4 times since 2021. Poland's Czyste Powietrze program reduced its upper grant threshold for the second beneficiary tier in January 2024. The IRA's tax credit structure is set through 2032, but the bonus credit adders, the ones that add 10 percentage points for installations in energy communities or low-income census tracts, have annual funding caps that can exhaust before the end of the calendar year. In California, the Tech Clean California incentive pool was fully subscribed in 2023 before the program year ended. Apply before you install. The grant that exists on the day you read this script may not exist at the same value on the day your contractor finishes the job. The grid is changing in a direction that makes this math better every year, not worse. Across Europe, The share of electricity generated from renewables reached 44% in 2023, according to Ember's European Electricity Review. In Brazil, the Operador Nacional do Sistema Elétrico, ONS, reported that renewable sources, including hydro, wind, and solar, supplied 87% of the national grid in 2023. In the United States, the Energy Information Administration projects that renewable generation will account for 42% of total electricity by 2027. The COP of your heat pump does not change, but the carbon intensity of the electricity powering it drops every year as the grid cleans up. The gas line in your wall delivers the same fossil combustion product it delivered in 1985. The electrical panel delivers a progressively cleaner energy source every year without a single change to your equipment. There is one objection that surfaces in every market, in every language, from every homeowner who has run the first half of the math and stopped: cold climate performance. The concern is legitimate, and the answer is documented. The Mitsubishi H2i series, field tested in Hokkaido, Japan, and in Minnesota winters, maintains 100% rated heating capacity at minus 15 degrees Celsius and 60% capacity at minus 25 degrees Celsius. Field data from installations in Helsinki, in Krakow, and in Quebec confirms heating delivery at outdoor temperatures that occur fewer than 40 hours per year in most temperate climates. The edge case of extreme cold is real. It is also a 30-hour design problem in an 8,760-hour year. The solution used by contractors in Stockholm and Warsaw is a dual-fuel setup. The heat pump handles 95% of annual heating hours, and a small backup resistance element, or an existing gas appliance, handles the remaining 5% during temperature extremes. Total gas consumption drops by 90 to 95%. The bill does not cut in half. It cuts by 90%. The dual-fuel configuration costs less to install than a full heat pump replacement because it reuses existing backup infrastructure while eliminating the majority of gas consumption immediately. The homeowners who complete this upgrade path do not report surprise at the savings. They report surprise at how long the information was available before they acted on it. The panel upgrade loophole is not new. The physics of heat pump efficiency have been documented since Lord Kelvin described the thermodynamic principle in 1852. The incentive programs have been funded and active for between 2 and 7 years, depending on the country. The contractors who perform this work at zero net cost to eligible homeowners exist in every major metropolitan market on every continent covered by this script. The gas company knew all of this. The math was never hidden. It was just never in the same place at the same time, in language that made the first step obvious. The first step is the panel. The incentive covers most of it. The rest of the math takes care of itself.